How do you live and eat when living on the streets?
Well, there are, certainly in Brighton and Hove, there are quite a number of people and organisations giving food for homeless people. For instance, every Sunday of the month is covered by a different church providing a meal, and many of them it's a very good meal. And there are people coming on the seafront by the Peace statue that give out food on an evening all through the year. And there's what we call soup runs in different parts of the seafront. People come with soup for the homeless.
You can get your meals down here, Salvation Army, Matthew 25, and that's about it, I've got to say.
During the mornings, you go to first base, they do a meal for 50p. Breakfast is free. You sit there for a couple of hours, then you go to St Anne's Church. They ask if you like to donate a deposit. If you can't, you're not worried. You still get a meal, sit and have a chat, coffee. There's loads of places around. Of a night time, 7 o'clock there's a soup run up at north side of Brighton at the old Stern, and then 8 o'clock you go up to the new Stern, another soup run. So you just all toddle along from there up to the other one. So
you should try not to have alcohol and drugs, because that's a slippery slope. But when you're down and it's cold, you take alcohol. You're tempted by drugs because it takes away feeling, etc.
How do you survive? Well, begging. I normally play the harm. I've done the big issue, but it wasn't earning enough money. Begging, or normally I play the harmonica, but it got broken the other week, so I've got to get another one. And survive like that. Food, you never go hungry in Brighton, really. There's always places you can go, like first base in the morning. You can have cereal and toast. This lady comes round from Crawley 3 nights a week. She drives over from Crawley, and she's got this big thing in the back of her car, and she's sort of like, them little silver trays. It's hot food like mince and potatoes, or meatballs and gravy and potatoes, bread. And you've got antifreeze, they come round with sandwiches. Pretz, the shop Pretz, that's nationwide they do it. They won't throw their food away. There's a guy who goes up and collects it. He's not a homeless guy, he does it off his own back. He's got one of them trolleys, and he goes up there, fills it with sandwiches, and just walks around to where he knows people are and gives out sandwiches like that. I mean, it's survival food. It keeps you alive,
Moving people on, I don't know I can't say as a matter of policy. I do know there was an incident some time ago where people's belongings, if they're left for a longish space of time and those warnings given, have been removed. Not something that I'm particularly in favour of, but it has happened.
If you leave your stuff out, it can. You keep an eye on it. So, if I wanted to go off for 5 minutes, I'd ask the guy over the road, can you just keep an eye on it? But the council do throw people's stuff away. People who actually sleep in doorways, like I was saying to you, I don't know if the camera's rolling, but people who actually set up home in the doorways or on the street, the council will they might come back and all their stuff's gone. Sleeping bags, everything. I mean, in the winter, that's your lifesaver. Yeah. I've got that one, this one, but where my tent's hidden, that's my best sleeping bag. that's all wrapped up and well stashed away. That's like, you know, it keeps me warm up to -21 or something like that. But it's your life-saving sleeping bag, and the council for the council to come along and like throw them away, I think it's really outrageous, like, you know. So that does happen.
You walk up West Street, you walk up by the station, you walk up most streets, George Street, every street, and there is a homeless person. Everywhere you walk, there's homeless camps. And the most annoying part, I think, and frustrating part for me was last week when we had a lot of rain, and I was out late at night, I was giving out sleeping bags, and them same people were coming back to me in the morning saying, Shaz, I went to the toilet, I was gone 5 minutes, the council come along and they binned all my stuff. And I'm like, having to keep every day giving them fresh stuff, not because they've lost it, but because the council are pouncing as soon as they move to go to the toilet and throwing their stuff away. And my argument was, if we go into one of their houses and stole their stuff, you'd be arrested and sent to jail. But they feel it's okay to go to someone in the gutter who's got nothing and destroy their stuff when they've got nothing left. In my car, a homeless person who has been asleep in my car all day, who last night tried killing himself, who's got severe mental issues, and I took him to the doctor. I forced him to see a doctor, not because he didn't want to, because they refused to see him. Come back in 24 hours. He's not going to go back in 24 hours. He might not be alive in 24 hours. He doesn't have 24 hours. I stood there and I argued the toss until they gave him an appointment 2 hours later. I stayed with him all day. I went back to the GP with him. I got him back on his medication because he suffers PTSD, anxiety, depression, and a lot of other mental issues because he's an ex-veteran. And I got him back on his medication, and he phoned me last night because he was going to jump off a building. I stayed with him till midnight, and then I went back to him early this morning because I put him somewhere last night. I went back and got him this morning. He slept in my car all day while I worked on that bus, and he is the other side of that bus, asleep now as we talk, in my car, waiting to be transferred onto that bus to save his life, because that's what he needs, and he needs accommodation. And the law states any veteran who has served is entitled to accommodation, especially when they suffer like that man's suffering. But they go there and they go on a waiting list. That waiting list takes 2 years. Then people don't have a day, let alone 2 years. And that is wrong. Society is just wrong. So wrong. And that man is asleep in my car right now. And that is just, I don't know, that's just craziness, isn't it, really?